Okay. Ooh, we're having let's get back into the pairing pool. Let's play some games. We played Rapid earlier. Rapid's a good. I really like 15 plus 10. We're gonna stick with that. Apparently, a lot of chess players and like on Reddit and stuff, did a survey about like what people want to see on streams. And actually, like a good amount of people really wanted to see 15-minute like rapid games. Like, wanted to see longer games. Like not too long. Like obviously, people really, there's a very small amount of people who wanted to see classical. I really don't think classical matches unless you're doing commentary, and unless it's like really good commentary, like grandmasters or international masters, national masters. Unless it's like master level commentary, I really don't think people want to see classical analysis. But the difference between like somebody playing classical on stream compared to somebody commentating on games, especially if it's multiple games, like if there's a tournament going on and there's like 4 or more boards, or there's like 8 players or more playing, and then you could switch back and forth between the games, because sometimes somebody will take like 30 or 40 minutes on a single move, and so it's like there's a ton of stuff you can analyze and talk about. However, if somebody's like playing the game, they might actually just prefer to be playing in silence, so it's like you're really not going to be getting much by watching somebody play it. But commentary is one thing, because then it's like you can do a whole bunch of stuff. You could even go back to the beginning and talk about opening. There's literally like so many things you can talk about using just a chessboard and the pieces. Like, because you could talk about the opening they're using. You could talk about a certain position. You could go in theoretical variations. And as long as you can, what I really like, what I really hate rather, is when they don't keep the current position on the screen. Because sometimes the commentators don't do that. But I feel like you should always have the current position somewhere on the screen. In a visible part of the screen. Not just a super small one, but like visible. And you should do all your analysis so that that's also visible. And have a separate board for analysis. So you could always see the current position. And so like you could do theoretical lines that may or may not happen. And possibly pretty much like kind of like what the players would be thinking in that position. And that there's so much stuff you can do. A lot of people don't really realize how much you can analyze in a single chess game. And at any time you could always go back to the beginning and analyze something else, like the opening, or you can analyze, like you could even just do like completely different analysis at any time, because you just have this whole chessboard to work with. So it's like classical analysis is really, there's a lot of room there. There's so much room there. Like obviously you'd want to be keeping it to relative to the games at hand, but at the same time, if for some reason, like let's say all 4 games was just paused, basically, like each player from each game was like taking like 40 minutes on that move. Well, you could always just go back and say, okay, well, let's do a lesson for the beginners here. Let's talk about pins and forks. And like, you could always do stuff like that. You could so there's always room for content in classical commentary. But I really do think that you need like master level or above in order to make that useful for viewing. But yeah, most people don't want to watch that unless it's what I just said. But 15 plus 10 has actually like been people did like polls on Reddit. There's like a really good chunk. Most people want to see Blitz, of course. That's never gonna change. People really love watching Blitz because it's just exciting. It's fast. People, like blunders can be made, even though like the commentators will be like saying like, oh, this is winning for white, and then suddenly white makes a mistake, and you're like, oh no, they didn't see this move, and then it's like, and then how do they respond, Because even though like you could be theoretically winning, it doesn't mean you automatically win. You still have to figure out which moves to make. And depending on how much time you have on the clock, you might not be able to make that move in time. So sometimes you might have a position where if you make the best move, it might actually be harder for you to win, even though it's theoretically winning. Because like because you have to factor how long it's going to take you to make the moves, and if you make any mistake, you're going to lose. However, if you make a slightly less good move that's easier to calculate, then you're gonna use less time and you might end up winning. So that's what it's like blitz ideas. But we're gonna be playing some rapid. Anyway, double checking my stream is set up right, and it is, Okay, so I'm gonna try going with d5 again, and we got a bishop f4. Okay, and then I could just play e6 or c6. Let's just play e6. I want to get into my stone wall. Okay. Next move. Ha 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 ha. Okay, now we have this situation. I don't think it's a big deal. I could just develop my knight. Okay, well, obviously if I ever play the knight, get a nice pawn structure there. But I want to get castled. I mean, this is just... It's just asking for... Well, can't do that. You can just go here and you're attacking my queen. And then I have to move the bishop back or move the queen away. And I don't like that. Let's just castle. Knight comes out now, the bishop is guarding. Don't want to screw up my pawn structure. No, it's going on pawn structure. I could always play h6. I don't think the knight can really do anything here. Dark squared bishop's like on the wrong diagonal. So I don't know if that's a good use of my tempo. Maybe I can play knight bd7. You need to figure out where I'm going to put my light squared bishop. Just play knight bd7 first. I think I can play b6. Actually, no, I could just play b5 right away. It's defended by the pawn here on c6. I can play b5 right away and then play bishop a6. However, in that case, I'd rather just play a5 because then the rook is guarding a6. Oh! You know what I screwed up? My opponent missed it. Ah. The problem with knight bd7 is it's no longer defending the bishop. So my opponent messed up. Ugh, I screwed up so bad. I'm really ashamed. But it's okay. Because my opponent missed it. I can actually play queen c7. My opponent completely missed it. I don't know if my opponent sees it now. If Doruga sees it, if they see it, that they could have taken the bishop on d6. Castling was a mistake. But now I saved my bishop. I screwed up so bad. Jeez. But I don't know if they saw it. And if they see it now, well, it's too late. Phew, I really hate it when I get lucky. I'd rather not have to rely on luck. Chess is a game of skill. I want to be able to outskill my opponent, not just win because I got lucky. I outplayed my opponent. Okay, well there's this threat. I mean, I could just play b6. Takes. Actually, no, the knight would. I'd probably want to play knight c e4 at that point. And if you take with the e pawn, he takes. But then rook d1 attacks my queen. But at that point, I can play queen b6. No, I can't because the pawn will be there. If I play b6, he takes d5. D takes d5, c takes d5, rook c1. Queen b8? I don't know if I like that. Could just take the bishop right away. Bishop takes g3, f takes g3, b6. And the knight's guarding that, so yeah. Let's take the bishop. I already should have lost that bishop, so let's just kind of say, you know what? I'm not going to take any chances. Okay, so this... That's great for me. I like it. Need to somehow get my rook over here. My knight could come over. Rook can go to h6. Lots of things going on. Not anything right away, but... I don't have to worry about that anytime soon. I don't have to wait. Excuse me. I don't have to play knight g4 right away, so I'm going to play b6 to make sure that I'm covering c5. Me, ma, 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 ma. ba 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 ba. Okay, no coffee for me anymore. Not today. Okay. Feeling really good in this position. I should have lost. Should have lost a piece. But I don't know if it would be losing at this rating. But it would have been pretty bad. Would have been pretty bad. Okay, the rook's coming down. The rook's coming down on a binge. Okay, so now definitely I can pull the same trick my opponent did and get my bishop to a really nice square. So now if I play bishop a6 now, first of all, my bishop is safe even though it was hanging. It's still safe. There's nothing attacking it. But now if you ever take the pawn or move it, take the bishop and I'm attacking the rook. And I win a piece. But I'm pretty sure bishop a6 the best, absolute best move. There is b4 and then b5. However, I think I can play b5 before. If b4 is played, I can play b5. If b3 is played, well, you're defending that pawn like with a lot of pieces. And I think that's like kind of taking away the pieces' attention from elsewhere on there. They could be on the board, so I feel like that's a positional win for me because if my opponent's just spending all their pieces' power defending. Okay, so now my bishop is hanging, and I can just play queen b7. Obviously can't play knight c5. If I play knight b8, then my knight's going backwards and just defending. So I think queen b7 probably my best bet. If you play b4 now, then when I play b5, I'm now attacking the queen. However, now there's extra defenders. So if b4, b5, c takes b5, c takes b5, bishop takes b5, bishop takes b5, attacking the rook. In fact, now I could just play b5. You're not really making any threats. Well, you are. But I could just play b5 right away. Then if you attack, it's not check, you're attacking a rook. Then I take the queen. And then I still capture back the knight. So let me double check this. b5. Move the queen though. And, oh no, I would rather bring the knight back over to g4. You take with the pawn takes. Oh, that's actually, yeah, because then the queen's guarding. Bishop would just take. And it'd be attacking the rook. Yeah, I think b5 is fine. Excuse me. Sorry, just doing a little bit of an exercise. If I take with the bishop or the pawn is the real question. If I take with the bishop, bishop takes, pawn takes. Take with the pawn, then I have this attack here. Take with the pawn. Then I'm not really attacking anything, huh? With the bishop, I just went. Yeah, okay, that's more forcing, I think. But bishop takes, queen takes, attacking the queen. Queen moves, or queen takes, pawn takes. Oh, I think bishop takes. And knight's guarding the knight, so we got stunt doubles. Doing the switch in registers, like going from like head voice to going to head voice, and it's like way harder because of my vocal folds. But apparently natal male puberty vocal folds have the potential to have the same exact properties as to be able to go into the same exact properties with training as native, natal female puberty vocal folds. Just takes like specific training. I don't know if I'll be able. I don't know if I'll ever reach that stage. The thing about trans women, the thing about natal male vocal folds is you'll have the full register, so there's always the possibility you'll slip back, which really sucks because people will misgender you. But society is getting to a place where there's more acceptance for people like me, for trans women and trans men. At the same time, though, I do not like to be misgendered, and I also do not like to have any male characteristics whatsoever. So I can double up pawns here. See? It also allows my knight to go over to g4. And I'm attacking the pawn. Thing is though, oh yeah, now if you attack, I take the pawn. Thing is though, is that with the right kind of training, I could actually have like full register. I could have the female register, and I don't know why I'd want to, but I'd be able to have the lower register. Although apparently, the less often you use the lower register, which I don't really have a lower register to begin with. Like even if I tried, like, hey, how's it going? Like I have to really work hard to do that. Sorry if that scared anyone. I have to work really hard to get into that lower register. Like it's not normal for me. It was never normal for me, even when I lived as male, because I was always a tenor. But at the same time, like, there's always that risk that you'll slip back as a trans woman, even after coaching and training. I don't really have coaching, but I do have a lot of experience as a singer and as a musician, and so I used a lot of resources that are available online for exercises and stuff like that. Sometimes I don't always do them on stream, but sometimes I do, and maybe it's annoying, but I don't know. I don't care. Like there's this exercise where you start off with, like, you go and you start out as nasally, and you start out as wrong as possible, like as harsh as possible, and then you gradually take away the tightness and make it more breathy, and it trains your vocal folds to have that that resonance. So you start with like which is like obviously like way too nasally, but it's more in the female resonance. Like nasally, some trans women, when they try to feminize their voice, are always like, hey, how's it going? Like, how are you doing? Oh my god. Like they always nasalize it, which is really not correct, because it's really, well, first of all, it's really bad on your voice. You know, having like only using like vocal fry, like it's really bad for your throat, and you really do not want to strain your voice that way. There's correct ways to speak that don't strain your voice, and yeah, going all nasally like that. First of all, it doesn't really sound very feminine to begin with. But there are mistakes that trans women sometimes make with, if I understand that, like, you know, and I understand definitely. So I'm not trying to judge these women. I'm just saying that when you're starting out and you don't really have any help and you don't really know what to look for, there's things, it's just like with chess. You know, I have problems with my chess as well. And also, if, just like this, like if white misses this, I win a rook. I already won a pawn, but if white misses this fork, I win a rook. But there's things about about vocal, you know, feminizing your voice, that like there's a lot of traps that women will fall into. You know, like trying to do too nasally or too breathy. I am really breathy. Like that. Okay, so I'm gonna win another pawn here. There's no threat with this rook. It looks nice because it looks like white's getting some like rook on the 7th rank, but I don't really think that it's gonna be, well, okay, so if I play knight d3, yeah, now you can't play the rook over to rook ec1 anyway because of the knight, but I'd be able to attack the pawn here. But yeah, I'm by no means an expert on feminizing my voice. There's definitely like coaches and experts available who are like professional coaches. There's for people who don't have access to that kind of stuff, or who don't, you know, there are people who do private coaching like online. Although a lot of people don't recommend that because they're not trained professionals. Which is, I think it's really important that people, there's a lot of people online who don't really recognize the difference between somebody who knows what they're doing but doesn't necessarily have like the training to like coach somebody in something. Like you could say that with chess. Like I know a lot of what I'm doing, but like if your goal is to become a chess master, I can only really get you so far. And that's kind of why I feel bad about myself. I'd like to be able to have the credentials to justify, you know, teaching people. Like obviously people below my rating I can always teach. Beginners I can always teach. So I'm already good there. And I'm really patient with beginners. The majority of my teaching for chess has been with beginners. So I'm fine there. but I'd like to also have a lot more expertise, and I also want to help people as much as possible. So I don't want to be stuck at the level I am with chess. I want to be able to push up to master and above. You know, obviously, potentially. But yeah, there's this exercise where you start out nasally, you go, like, and you're like, and you just gradually like kind of like relax it, and it brings you into this more feminine resonance. Now it's not so much about pitch, and so a lot of there's a lot of fallacies that that trans women also fall into, where they kind of like they go falsetto. They're going like, hi, how are you doing? Hi, like that's falsetto, and that's like Mickey Mouse, like, hi, how you doing? I'm Mickey Mouse. Ho ho, ho ho. Like that's not how anybody talks. Like, but there are trans women out there who are like, hi, how you doing? Hi, hello, like super, you know. And I understand the struggle. I really do. Especially if you have no support, which is a good argument why we need more support for trans people. Because if people are stuck on their own, they're gonna make a lot of things that are just gonna give them headaches, and you're not gonna get the results you want, because you're gonna get stuck doing things on your own, and doing things on your own is never gonna end well for anybody. Like, seriously. Well, I could threaten this knight. The knight moves. I take the pawn. You take this pawn. I'm also threatening to win this pawn, so I get an extra pawn out of this. I have to be really careful though. I could just check right away. Trade off. And then I trade off this pawn. I lose a pawn that way. Oh no, I don't. Oh yeah, I do. Well, then you just lose. Well, not lose, but trade. I attack the knight with rook c2. Knight b3. Rook takes a2. Takes e6. I don't like that at all. I just need to play rook e8. Oh. Oh yeah, I really don't know how many years it's going to take me to really master vocal feminization. Apparently, according to other people, my voice is just fine the way it is, but I do want to make progress because that's just the way I work. And I don't think it's fine. I think it has a lot more. I mean, I don't know. I just always see myself. I always see room for improvement in every aspect of my life. I never settle. It's what makes me a. I wouldn't say good chess player, but it makes me a good chess learner. And I gotta be really careful here. I think I do need to bring my knight back. Start really focusing here on attacking pawns and pieces and stuff. Okay, and there's no way to attack this because the pawn's guarding. You could bring the knight in somehow, but then I just trade. And then the rooks, the kings that gonna be vulnerable. Okay, I need a guard against rook c7. If you play rook c1, c8 check, I just play king f7. And then if you play rook h8, h6 takes care of that. We're getting right down to the wire here. We both have 3 minutes left. This is I think this is like the... I'm getting my groove back, you guys. I'm getting my true chess groove back. I don't know if I've ever had this groove on stream before. I don't think anybody on... Because, you know, you have this thing where it's like... I've been streaming for like a year. And I think it takes a while to really get back to like the way that you think about chess compared to the way that you do while you're talking on a stream. I don't know. Obviously, I'm always going to have more focus off stream, but I think it's worth I do get a reduction in quality of my chess, but as a streamer, I feel like that's the price I have to pay in order to try to, you know, kind of advertise my chess journey and document it. It's you know, and also the way the market's going for chess. Like it's always gonna be about streaming now. Like there's no question. I don't think there's any question about like streaming is the future of chess. Like there's like no doubt. I have absolutely no doubt. This is the future of chess. It's already happening. It's been happening steadily since like 2017. Devin Nash did a video about it too. Oh, he's been talking about it for a while. Well, I'm up a pawn here, but it's going to be a little difficult to try to make some progress. And especially with I have 10 seconds guaranteed per move, but at the same time, it's going to be really difficult. I think I have to get my king up here. I have to try to trade off here and then bring my king over here. Okay, and I can actually go here. You're attacking this pawn. Pawn's defended. You take, I take with the pawn. And then I'm definitely winning. Okay. Oh, I lose a pawn. Yikes. I don't think it's the end of the world. I need to push. I really need to be careful about a pawn promoting. I don't think white can really capitalize this. So now we both equalize material. Take. So I don't have to worry about that. Take here. Go here. Yeah, that's the threat. So I just have to take. I think I need to go here because you can't move that rook away. I'm just gonna push. Yeah, so as far as speaking goes, I can definitely work on feminizing, but singing is a different beast entirely. I don't know if I'll ever be able to sing in the feminine register. Like, I honestly don't think. I don't know if I'll ever be able to reach that point. But I can work on it. Like, There's like three registers. There's the head voice, then there's like the alto soprano, like there's the alto range, like and then there's the tenor and baritone, and obviously I already have a handle over tenor and the top range of baritone, but I can't really go too low. I can't go in bottom range of baritone. Like I can't go into bass. Like I just can't. Like I have to emulate it, and obviously I wouldn't want to. I don't want to sound masculine. Okay. But yeah, like head voice is a different beast entirely. As you don't want to be in falsetto. Like you want to be in like head voice is different. And honestly, non-trans like cisgendered men are actually capable of going into head voice. You hear that with countertenors, and you don't have to be castrato to do that. Because there are men who are professional countertenors. So it is a thing. Wondering if I go here. Yeah, I like it. Okay. Oh, and I get all the pawns. Now I'm definitely winning. I can definitely win in 3 minutes now. Don't want to blunder, that's it. Yeah, GG. GG. My opponent screwed up. I think you needed to just like, you need to guard this pawn. But then I can play this. Everybody always leaves before they want to talk about the game. Oh well, it's not a big deal. Yeah, see, right here, I screwed up. I need to play queen c7 before I move that knight. Or queen e7. I like queen c7. And if you take. Whew. That was intense.